The Gold Show. I'm your host, Larry Leese. Today we're diving into Psych the Movie and giving our review as part of our continuation of, I Know You Know, a review of Psych the Series.
If it's alright, then you're all wrong. But why bounce around to the same damn song? You'd rather run when you can't crawl. I know, you know, that I'm not telling the truth. I know, you know, they just don't have any proof. Embrace the deception, learn how to bend your worst inhibitions, then psych you out in the end. I know, you know.
Not many shows have movies after it, except for Psych, thanks to its crazy fans that wanted more after the show ended. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Poddex, for sponsoring this episode. Poddex are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. Simply shuffle up, ask a question, and let the content roll. Get yours today at poddex.com and use code Larry21 for 10% off your order. Now let's dive right in, shall we? Over the course of its original 8-season run, Psych referenced or parodied any number of genres, including slasher films, crime comedies, musicals, reality TV competitions, and most notably, the mystery drama that's back in style. Steve Frank's Little Blue Skies dramedy could stretch any which way, because while its fake psychic premise was enough to simultaneously exist on CBS, the friendship between leads Shawn and Gus was the real framework of the show. It didn't really matter whether the psych detective agency would be found out or how Shawn's powers of observation would help crack their latest case. The real draw was James Roday and Hill's chemistry, which could potentially support any number of concepts. The latest Psych story tests that theory as the fake psychic, slightly more authentic private detectives would change genres again and addresses. Psych the Movie is the first TV movie from Franks and Roday, and it ventures into Hallmark Channel territory with its Christmas setting, both on and off screen. It has a lot more in common with Gremlins than A Christmas Prince, but Psych the Movie is also poised to be the one that kicked off a batch of TV features along the way. USA Network might have given up on its breezy dramas as its main focus, but the cabler is optimistic about how well this fizzy fare could go over the holiday season. And Psych the Movie delivers on its potential, both as a holiday-adjacent comedy and as a springboard for a new USA subgenre. Directed by Franks, who co-wrote the teleplay with Roday, Psych the Movie is lively and lightweight, buoyed by Roday and Hill's bond, which hasn't diminished at all in the last 3 years. Its structure is classic Psych with mystery assailants, a break-in or two, a little self-reflection, and rapid-fire pop culture references to make up for absence. Roday has called the movie a love letter to the fans, and it is definitely an enjoyable continuation of the original series. Virtually all the main and recurring players, including Timothy Omundson, who's recovering from a stroke, are worked into the story, which centers on Juliet. The San Francisco cop has been targeted by the thin white duke, Zachary Levi, and his goons, including WWE star Charlotte Flair. The antagonists threaten to spoil not just Christmas, but possibly even Shawn and Juliet's engagement, which remains jewelry-free. Levi struts around as a villainous yet dapper Englishman who aspires to be a David Bowie knockoff. Roday and Franks always wanted the light music icon to make an appearance, but this is as close as they could get. And yeah, it works, because Levi, who honed his accent in Thor the Dark World, really sells his bottle blonde, bespoke menace. Unfortunately, the other bad guys are much more thinly sketched, even the ones whose backstory will make the most devoted fans sit upright when they first appear on screen, but the lack of strong characterization for villains didn't hinder the show in the long run, and it doesn't dampen any of the energy here. Shawn's famous observational skills and eidetic memory aren't even key elements in the movie, which bounds along to a soundtrack made up of the Ramones, Gin Blossoms, and impressive choruses of "Come On, Son." Logic and consequences never mattered much on Psych, and they don't carry much more weight in the film, which wraps with a showdown that's also a jumping off point for the next entry in the series. The main appeal of the movie is what drew viewers to the show: snappy dialogue, a great bromance, and enough references to satisfy the most obsessive of pop culture geeks, like myself. And just like on the show, there are several inspired bits, including Flair tossing the good guys around like rag dolls, and a complicated dick joke that would make Alec Berg and Mike Judge proud. Psych was always the sessionable beer of comedy, something bubbly that you could partake in significant quantities. And that spirit carries through to Psych the Movie, where Roday and Hill reaffirmed their standing as one of the great yet most unsung comedic duos. USA might be doubling down on dramas, but Psych the Movie proves there's plenty of gas left in the comedy tank too, even if the car is now headed over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house. Let us know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on this movie. Were you a fan of the series? Are you a fan of the movies? Next week we're covering Psych Movie 2. Be sure to hit a like, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button for more great content from the Cinema Gold Show. If you want to support the show, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/cinemagold. You can find us on all major podcast platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search The Cinema Gold Show. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.